Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. The fit for this video is the McFarlane Spider-Man. Let's take a look at a video.
An affirming pastor. What do you mean when you say affirming? Oh, I don't think being LGBTQ plus is sinful in any way.
All right, let's hear it.
But doesn't the Bible say in Deuteronomy 18:22 that a man laying with a man is an abomination?
No, that verse is about prophets. But yes, that is in Leviticus. So with that being cleared up, let's hear your response.
That we should have little fences on the edges of our roofs, that we should forgive debts every 7 years, but we ignore all of that. Yes, okay, I get it. We don't follow Deuteronomical law.
That's not true. More specifically, we don't follow the ritual or ceremonial laws that were only binding upon ancient Israel.
The Bible recognizes absolutely no such division of laws whatsoever. The idea of ceremonial, moral, and then civil or judicial laws developed after the Bible was complete as a means of rationalizing and authorizing the picking and choosing of which laws early Christians wanted to keep and which laws they wanted to get rid of. And one of the clearest demonstrations that this is a post hoc rationalization is that Christians kept a bunch of ceremonial laws having to do with worship and having nothing to do with morality at all. This is entirely a post-biblical renegotiation.
These were temporary laws to keep Israel set apart. But there were also laws for all people for all time, the moral law, like Leviticus 18:22. We know this because Leviticus 18:22 is sandwiched between other moral laws, against adultery, child sacrifice, and relations with animals. Furthermore, God drove out the nations that did these things. That proves this also applied to non-Jews.
So again, this notion that there are temporary ceremonial laws and eternal moral laws for all people and all time is a post-biblical innovation. It is not found anywhere in the Bible, and it also directly contradicts the reasoning that Leviticus 18 itself gives for this particular set of laws. If you go look in Leviticus 18 verses 24 through 30, it explains why these laws are here. This is part of the Holiness Code. This is about the people of Israel being holy so the land can be holy for two things: so that they can remain dwelling in the land, and so that Adonai can be with them in the land. And if you go to verse 24, it says, "Do not defile yourselves in any of these ways, for by all these practices the nations I am casting out before you have defiled themselves." The idea is that these actions generate a kind of metaphysical contamination or pollutant that gets on the people, but more importantly, gets on the land. Thus, the land became defiled, and I punished it for its iniquity, and the land vomited out its inhabitants. But you shall keep my statutes and my ordinances, and commit none of these abominations, either the native born or the alien who resides among you. For the inhabitants of the land who were before you committed all these abominations, and the land became defiled. Otherwise, the land will vomit you out for defiling it, as it vomited out the nation that was before you. For whoever commits any of these abominations shall be cut off from the people. What is the punishment? You get kicked out of the land. Why? These laws are here to protect the cleanliness of the land and the people inhabiting the land. So keep my charge not to commit any of these abominations that were done before you, and not to defile yourselves by them. I am the Lord your God. The concern is for maintaining the holiness of the land and the people inhabiting the land. Scholars for generations have pointed out that if the texts of Leviticus 18 and 20 have anything to say about these laws, they are only for the people inhabiting these lands and the people of Israel. They are not for all people for all time, according to Leviticus 18 and 20. So once again, this distinction of temporary ceremonial law versus eternal moral law for all people is not in the Bible. It directly contradicts the chapters in which these laws are given. It is something that was created after the Bible as a means of rationalizing their picking and choosing which laws they wanted to keep and which laws they did not.
Let me give you an analogy. When I was a child, my father gave me two rules. One, hold my hand when we cross the street, and two, do not drink what's under the sink. The first one no longer applies to me. I've grown out of it. But the second one still applies. I will never grow out of that one. Moral law is like the second rule. This distinction is further supported in the New Testament.
None of those passages on their own or in combination with any others supports the notion that the Hebrew Bible legislation can be cleanly divided into temporary ceremonial laws and eternal moral laws. That is a post-biblical innovation.